All right, welcome back to another production meeting. Friendly reminder, we are now on Apple, Google, Spotify, and Amazon for all your audible needs. How's it going, guys? Is it amazing?
Well, I had to watch these movies, so
Are you a little
could
bummed
be
out?
better, could be worse, could be
We
better.
gave you the greatest movies to watch, Alex. What are you talking about? Your life
Yeah, man.
has only gotten better since we've had to pick these movies for you.
I'm sorry,
This
I
is
couldn't
true.
understand you with all the blasphemy you were just spreading into my ear canals.
Spirited Away is amazing.
No, okay, no, we're talking about like the entirety of my assignments, and no, that was the thing I liked the most.
I was
Highlight.
Not to
waiting
give a
for Alex to
spoiler.
come in with like the hottest of hot takes about Spirited Away right there. I was just waiting.
I know. Are we doing Alex's classic corner at the beginning of this? No, we don't have to.
Wait till
Did you watch anything else this week, Alex, or did you play any games?
Yeah, man.
No, and I feel like a boring record. I'm just playing MLB The Show every week. I'm like, this. I am one trophy away from platinum. This I said this last week, and it's still true this week because it's such a grindy trophy that you have to It's so grindy basically, and it's
You have to play 1,000 games.
Well, it's like you have your little universal profile, and it's like it's at 1, and it could be at 2, then 3, and you got to build it. You're like at bronze, and then after it levels up to 100, it goes to silver. That's what I need to do in order to get it, and it takes forever to go from one level to the next, and I'm just I'm at 75, so I'm almost there. I just need to keep going. You just play anything, play any mode at any time, and they give you experience. So
Gotcha.
that's what I did. And then I watched the homework, and that's it. So next week I got to work on diversifying my portfolio.
That sounds pretty good, man. I didn't really play any video games, but I watched a whole slew of movies this week, thanks to our good friends at the Red Box. I had the privilege last night of watching a film that Ryan has already seen already, the A+ monster flick Monster Hunter, and I say A+ because I didn't really enjoy it at all.
I told you.
I'm like, why couldn't? All right, this whole movie is based on this huge video game with these monster hunters in this world where guess what? They hunt monsters. Why in this movie are we going to have the basis of our film be a military convoy that gets magically transported into this world and then just stuck in a desert and running away from monsters the entire time? That's literally, and about, 15 minutes of the movie is Mila Jovovich fighting, what is that guy's name? Ong Bak, Tony Jaa. That's literally 15 minutes of the movie. I'm like, where are the monsters at? I know we probably don't have that much of a CGI budget, possibly. I kind of wish if they'd gone that route, they'd have just mixed it with Resident Evil. Just kept the same characters and just combined it all. I mean, it's the same people. Mila Jovovich.
And then 3 weeks from now, when Godzilla comes out, people are going to be like, why are there so many monsters?
I know, right? And then I watched the sequel to The Croods, which, it's a sequel to The Croods. If you like the original Croods, you'll like this one. Will you go out of the way to watch it? No. And then some 4 really interesting films that I watched this week. Aside from those, the Shudder exclusive Random Acts of Violence, written, directed, and starring Jay Baruchel. And it's a pretty good, interesting slasher film. Yeah. Interesting concept on a slasher film. The end of it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. I didn't like the end of it, which is kind of sad. And Jay Baruchel did a decent job directing and acting in it. I mean, he's his basic Jay Baruchel self. There's no dragons though in it, in case you were wondering. Sorry. I finally watched Saint Maud 2.
Saint Maud 2 is out already?
No, yeah, Saint Maud 2. I didn't hate it. I'm not sure. This is another film that I don't know. The beat of the climax of the film was a little off for me. The film, first and foremost, the film's a great length. It's an hour and 15 minutes or 20 minutes, so it's not even that long. But like what happens at the end ends on such a random, it's not a random beat, it's just the climax. It seemed humorous to me. I don't know why. I guess I'm a dark person, and if you watch the end of it, it's just the way it's cut made me laugh. And Ryan knows
I think you're just a dark person.
I am. I was like, this is what's, well, I knew what was happening in my brain, so I was expecting it to happen, and I think my brain knew how the movie was going to end. And then when they actually did it, I started laughing because I just thought it was funny how abrupt the cut was.
Yeah, the timing of it, I agree with that. Like, I got the idea of the timing. It was like, oh, okay.
And then I watched this film called Spontaneous, which is a kind of like a, not really a horror. I mean, it's kind of a horror, like teenage comedy drama. Basically, it stars a girl who's in the 13 Reasons Why series, the season. I forgot her character's name, but it's the main one. And she plays the same character, except she doesn't kill herself in this movie. But in this movie, she plays a high school student where she goes to high school and people just start randomly exploding. Like literally, they just blow up out of nowhere. And it's the whole movie is them like coming to terms and dealing with like people randomly blowing up in their school. So it's interesting. I enjoy that just based on the topic, because I thought it was original. And then my favorite movie this week, and I say favorite, I watched this movie called Horizon Line. And it's about this couple who gets on this plane, and the pilot has, it's the pilot and the two people in this plane, and they're flying over the ocean to this island, and the pilot has a heart attack and they're stuck in the plane. And the one girl kind of knows how to fly, but not really. And they can't figure out, and they have to
yeah, I remember that. Did that have God, I don't know his actual name, but he does a lot of voice work. He was the bad guy in what's that Disney movie? Not Tangled. Shoot. The Princess and the Frog. He played the voice of the bad guy. Does it? I think he's the pilot. Is it a black guy?
What's his name?
Keith David.
Yeah.
It's Allison Williams, Alexander Draymond, and Keith David.
Yeah, Keith David plays the pilot, so he's not really in the movie.
I saw a trailer for that. I was like, okay, this doesn't look too bad, so I know what you're talking about.
This movie gets progressively dumber and dumber and dumber as it goes along. And Allison Williams, God bless her heart, she's not a great actress at all. And I'm sorry. I mean, she's got her father, I guess, has some sway. I mean, she was in Get Out, but she was probably the weakest link in that movie. But everything else, and she played Peter Pan on this made-for-TV show. I don't know if any of you guys saw it. That was horrible.
No, but I can see that.
She's a pretty poor actress. But anyway, the movie gets worse, crazier and crazier and crazier. It's actually, and this is coming after I watched the Chloe Grace Moretz plane movie last week. I watched this one right here, and this is actually even worse, at least as far as how ridiculous it gets. That being said, I highly recommend it just for the entertainment. If you've written the DVD, definitely check out one of the deleted scenes, which made me laugh so much I almost rolled out of my chair. So I literally ruffled there. It was pretty funny. So
he almost literally took off on his Rufflecopter.
Yeah. So yeah, except this my pilot would not have died of a heart attack. So but yeah, so those are the films that I watch, and I'm sorry I was so long-winded on all those. But aside from the Croods, and Monster Hunter, those last four I would check out, especially if you're a fan of the genres, just for entertainment purposes. So
cool. Brian?
Well, Matt, based on your suggestion, I went to Redbox and watched Greenland with Gerard Butler, and it was more enjoyable than a lot of the stuff I watched this week. I had a good time, actually. It wasn't amazing, but I can see why critics like it. So I was pleasantly surprised. I think I just went in with way too low expectations for it.
I enjoy the film based, I say enjoy I don't like, that's another film I didn't really like the ending of, but I liked how almost realistic that film seemed, like as far as like everything, how the people reacted to the scenario. I thought it was, as far as, asteroids coming to hit Earth, that was more of the more plausible ways that would pan out. So, but yeah, wasn't a fan of the ending, and of course it was Gerard Butler, trying to save his family.
Yep. Let's see. I watched. Did anybody else watch Tom and Jerry?
Oh, I did. I didn't write it on my list, but we did.
I was gonna say if 3 of us did, we could talk about it later.
We can talk about it later.
Yeah, let's talk about it later.
Let's do the appetizer to the main event later.
Then in that case, I watched the homework. I watched most of the homework, some of the homework, and then my obscure spotlight of the week, which I'm not going to make an every week thing, but I just happen to keep watching these obscure but really fun movies. Is a 1966 film called "The Russians Are Coming, The Russians Are Coming," with Alan Arkin, which is a comedy, which came out like boldly in 1966, where this group of Russians accidentally crash a submarine onto a very paranoid U.S. island. And they're just trying to steal a boat to get their submarine off, and just things get slowly out of control. It's a lot of fun. Highly recommend. Good classic war comedy. Not even really a war movie per se, but definitely got that Cold War flair to it.
Is a prequel to Red Dawn?
It does feel very Red Dawn-esque. All the Americans' reactions feel like Red Dawn, and all the Russians want to do is just leave.
That's funny. All right. Well, while you guys were doing that, I just kept watching Modern Family and picking away at Westworld season 3. I have homework, people.
Clint's like, I go to school, guys. I have to actually study.
Yeah, sort of.
I have literal homework.
Literal homework. Are you guys ready for the news? Because there's a ton of it. Not really. So first up, Silent Night, Deadly Night is getting a reboot. Another horror movie getting a reboot.
What?
Yeah, shocker.
How dare they touch
But this
something
one's-
that's sacred? It's Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Yeah, it's a murderous Santa, apparently.
When you sent that, I was like, I don't even know what that is.
It's a horror movie reboot. It was made in what, the early 80s? Something like that.
Yeah.
It'll be new to me.
Yeah. Well, so it's not a reboot for you. There you go.
There's a new movie coming out, Alex.
Yay!
Oh, good,
2022 from the Blumhouse.
The Blumhouse.
The Blumhouse.
I think it's so funny that production studio can make really quality stuff and complete garbage because they have so little creative control sometimes. So that name means nothing, but sometimes it means everything.
Well,
Yeah.
their whole slogan or their trademark with their films is he basically tells people, he gives people a budget, and then he's like, give me an idea. Okay, here's your budget, go do it, and that's about it.
And then
That's
they can
all he
slap
has.
from the studio who gave you Get Out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about beforehand the Fantasy Island from
Fantasy Island.
19. Yeah, and I think Clint's the only one I think who hasn't seen it, and I was telling him, and I think we can all agree on this, is that I think it had promise for like 2/3 of the movie or 3/4, maybe if you enjoyed it that much, and it just kind of, that ending was stupid. It was just dumb. Like I thought I was like, okay, this is all right, and then the ending's just dumb. I don't even remember exactly what happened, so I can't spoil it, but I just remember thinking that, like, all right, this just got a 5 from me. Thanks.
So, are we on board with this? I guess. Yeah.
It's a horror movie. It's gonna happen.
Sure.
You're right, exactly.
So Superman and Lois got renewed for season 2. They haven't even played the second episode yet.
I didn't
Yeah.
realize it didn't even come on yet. Have you watched it yet? I don't think I can. I don't think I can cheat on Dean Cain like that. I don't think I can go and watch this.
Well, he's the kid from Road to Perdition, so I mean it's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Green Lantern series is going to start filming in April. I didn't realize that they actually cast any of these people. apparently there's going to be like 4 or 5 different Green Lanterns that are going to be in the show. So if they're filming in April, like maybe we'll hear some casting news here pretty soon.
Oh, I was gonna ask you if you had heard of any specific people, because I don't. Okay.
That's why I was kind of shocked that they actually.
It's going to be 5 Ryan Reynoldses.
He's gonna hate every minute of it too.
Where are the other 5, Ryan?
So the Terminator is getting an animated series to Netflix. Yeah, I know.
Every week there's a new animated series coming out.
I know. That's why
We
I
keep
threw this in
doing
here.
this. We're gonna have to have a segment on the show that's like this week in animation.
Why would we do an animated Terminator series?
Netflix. Oh, hold on. Netflix just announced they're doing a limited series of Gone with the Wind animated.
Anime style.
Yeah.
Oh man, guys, did you hear about that Godfather animated series?
Oh, it's being produced by Studio Ghibli.
Oh man, great.
In glorious 3D animation.
Yeah, man. Good Lord. I love it. So yeah, we'll get this in what? 4 years?
Is Arnold Schwarzenegger going to be in this?
It didn't say.
Got to do the job. Wrong
Maybe
movie, but still.
maybe he's just going to animate it.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe Linda Hamilton's gonna come back one more
Come
time.
with me if you want to see a movie. I mean a series, whatever.
It's probably gonna get like 8 episodes.
Mhm.
I don't know why I threw this in here. I was looking for news. Apparently the Snyder Cut ends on a cliffhanger. Okay. I'm not really sure why that's.
What's the point?
I don't know. To tease what could have happened. It's like watching like a whole series, like a whole first season of a series that ends in a cliffhanger, just to know that it was canceled later.
Is it part of the long game for him? He's like, I'm essentially doing this for free, guys. So if it gets really popular and ends on a cliffhanger, maybe somebody will give me a call and be like, hey man, you want to do this again? Justice League 2.
I've read that like he's not, like they haven't talked to him about any sequels. They haven't like said anything to him about progressing this any further. My understanding is that they're kind of wanting to move away from this Snyder-esque DCEU and head more towards like the Wonder Woman, Aquaman type universe that they set up.
Don't say Aquaman right now. That's another hot topic.
Oh yeah, I completely.
No, that is a whole debate. I'm like, I'm middle of the road. Like I loved Batman versus Superman. I'm the like one guy who actually liked it.
Martha.
And then I liked Aquaman. I didn't hate Justice League. Thought it was a very big bag of meh, like the rest of the world. And then I like Zack
Are you
Snyder
saying
as
the
the
rest
director.
of the world is a big bag of meh? Or that everyone else in the world thought Justice League was a big
Correct.
bag of meh?
Everything you're saying is correct.
I think I don't know. I was pretty much meh with all of them, and I feel like Justice League maybe had the most potential. So that's why I'm slightly excited about this Zack Snyder cut.
You're getting 4 hours of potential.
Yeah.
4 hours and 2 minutes.
That's when we do that week. I'll be like, so guys, can we do this at 11?
Yeah, right.
I'm still watching this.
Yeah. Speaking of Snyder Cut and DCEU, Superman reboot is coming from J.J. Abrams and Ta-Nehisi Coates, who is a comic book writer. He's done a lot of Black Panther, African American stuff. So the rumor has it that Henry Cavill is out and that they're going to recast a African American Superman. Yay.
DC blah blah blah.
We get a Superman reboot. I feel like we get them every 10 years now. So
Yeah. I feel like every once in a while they actually happen too, because I think we've got a couple famous Superman reboots that didn't happen.
Yes.
So
Wasn't Nicolas Cage supposed to be Superman at one point?
Yeah.
they even did like pre-production promotions
Yeah, so don't take him off the list yet. He still might want to do it.
Yeah, right. So this is how I really feel about this. First of all, I don't think that Henry Cavill got a fair shake for this. If he's really out, I don't think that he got a fair shake for this. He went from Man of Steel, which was, I think, okay. Like it had the potential that you spoke of, Matt.
There's just no logic in Man of Steel. That's all.
Yeah.
Just murder everybody except the bad guy.
Yeah, why not? Then you went to Batman v Superman, which was highly disappointing. I don't care what you say, Alex, but it was highly disappointing. And then Justice League, which, let's face it, his CGI face kind of like threw me out of the whole movie. So I don't think that he got like a fair shake with this. I think that if they gave him a proper sequel to Man of Steel, I think that he probably would have carried the movie quite well. That being said, if they do recast this, and it does happen to be a African-American black actor for this, I don't think that it would bother me as much as it maybe like them trying to do Bruce Wayne as black. Because I think that with Superman, the whole idea of Superman is that he's an alien. And so the race doesn't really matter because he's still from another planet. With Bruce
So
Wayne,
what you're
though,
telling me is he could be green.
he could be green.
Okay.
Is he green?
Mhm.
But with like Bruce Wayne, like his money comes like in old like stuff, like it's like an ancient like old money and stuff like that. So like historically, contextually, I don't think that it would work. Now, if you do like a whole Miles Morales thing, you can change whoever Batman is to a new Batman that's different. Then you can cast whoever the hell you want. But I think the character of Bruce Wayne, I think, needs to kind of like stay the way that he is. That makes sense. But
Yeah.
change Superman all you want, I guess. I guess it really doesn't matter.
I just don't want to hear anybody being like, man, they should cast Idris Elba or some type of Michael B. Jordan type of person.
You are
That's all
like
I don't wanna
reading my
hear.
mind. It's like
I don't want to hear that. Let's go somewhere else, man.
I think I heard. So we've got to have talked about this before, where we thought
Sure.
of Michael B. Jordan as Superman, but I thought to contradict your thought, Clint, I was like, I think he would be a good Batman, not Superman. I don't know why. And then Idris Elba, no, I talked about having a good replacement for James Bond.
He's already Black Superman anyway in Hobbs and
Yeah.
Shaw.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
The best Fast and Furious movie out there.
That's
It's
not
my
Fast
first
and
Fast and
Furious.
Furious movie out there.
I know, but it's like presented by Fast and Furious.
It's absolutely a Fast and Furious movie, man.
Vin Diesel would say otherwise, sir.
Yeah, man.
Vin Diesel
Fun fact
would
about
mumble
that
otherwise.
movie, I didn't completely hate it. I mean, it was it was dumb, but it was entertaining.
Yeah. Well, any other thoughts on J.J. Abrams taking over Superman?
Oh, J.J. Abrams, please don't ruin it.
Wait, I
please.
can do J.J. Abrams thoughts.
Oh wait, I've got it. I should. Oh, the one day I'm not getting a glare from this.
Yeah.
When we're talking about J.J. Abrams, lame.
New.
So lame.
So District 10 is coming from Neil Blomkamp. Didn't really understand why this needs a sequel, but sure, why not?
All right,
Animaniacs.
real
Okay.
talk. Hold on. If we're talking about like animated series, that's what the District 10 should be.
Yeah, I could see that.
I'm just saying. Like if we're going there, let's just make it animated, man.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Yeah. Animaniacs is getting renewed for season 3, even though season 2 hasn't come out yet. This was for me. Screw you guys.
I already did my Warner Brothers homework this weekend.
Right. Oh yeah, Tom and Jerry. And second to last, Lady Jane is getting her own series at Amazon. Not really sure why we need this. Didn't we learn from the first 2 G.I. Joe movies that nobody wants G.I. Joe anymore? Apparently not.
All we want is Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Cobra Commander, and that's it.
Cobra, come on.
I wake up every morning and not think of that.
I thought you were gonna say we want like G.I. Joseph.
You want what?
G.I. Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh no, he was Cobra Commander. And lastly, I just want to kind of like go over some of the Golden Globe winners, kind of surprises.
Wait, the Golden Globes happened?
The Golden Globes did happen. Where were you?
With everyone else not watching.
How many awards did Hamilton
Probably.
win?
0. Kahlua won Best Supporting Actor. Catherine O'Hara took in for Best Actress in a Comedy. Soul won Animated Picture. Sorkin won for Best Screenplay for Chicago 7. Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross, and John Batiste won for Best Original Score for Soul. Sudeikis won for Ted Lasso, musical comedy, Best Actor. Schitt's Creek won Best Musical and Comedy. Rosamund Pike won for Best Actress for Comedy. Minari won for Foreign Language. Anna Taylor-Joy won for Queen's Gambit and Best Actress in a Limited Series. Queen's Gambit won. Chadwick Boseman won for Best Actor in a Motion Picture Drama. Chloe Zhao won for Nomadland for Best Director. Borat won for Best Comedy. Sacha Baron Cohen won for Best Actor. Andrea Day won for Best Actress in a Motion Picture Drama. And Nomadland took home Best Drama. Go ahead, Ryan.
I completely forgot I watched Ma Rainey's Black Bottom this week.
Fail.
It's because it made you
I
feel
guess-
so sad you had to black it out, man.
Yeah, I guess I hadn't rated it yet, and I was going through my ratings. Good movie, amazing performances, deserving win. My
yes.
other takeaway with that was when I had done a little bit of, I already kind of hoped it would happen. So Nomadland still seems like kind of the front runner for Best Picture.
Yes.
Chicago 7 screenplay puts it right behind it, and it is very hard, especially in the last 10 years, for a film to win Best Picture without Best Screenplay.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, I hope the trend continues.
Yeah,
Yes.
I do. I hope it's a good, because it's usually there's been a good track record the last couple of years. Now that said, Shape of Water lost because 3 Billboards won adapted screenplay. Something else won original screenplay, and then Shape of Water won Best Picture.
Mhm.
But I feel like a good majority of the last 10 Best Picture winners won screenplay, something else in picture.
Right.
So there's a chance.
I don't know. I mean, you say, Chicago 7 winning screenplay is a good vibe, but I mean, Nomadland won Best Director. So, I mean, I think it's kind of like a wash with either way.
Well, they do. I was hoping too, because I've seen this isn't as common, but they have used Best Director as an excuse not to give somebody Best Picture.
True that.
Like
yeah,
Roma.
that's true.
Yeah.
Or
I think
Spielberg.
the one thing I was surprised about the Golden Globes, and we didn't mention it because we've never watched it, is how many awards The Crown won. That's on Netflix.
Oh,
I think it won like 3 or 4.
Yeah. Best
Uh,
Best Actress in a Series, I think, was one.
And Best Series, I think, too.
you guys are getting ahead of me. So Emma Corrin won for The Crown for Best Actress in a Television Drama. Josh O'Connor won for Best Actor in a Television Drama, and it did won Best Television Drama. I think, yeah, Gillian Anderson won for Best Supporting Actress in Television. So that's what.
Yeah.
5?
So that's my first takeaway. Is apparently I need to go watch this because apparently it's good.
Oh, it's very good.
Yeah. My second takeaway is I knew I was right about Jason Sudeikis. I knew Ted Lasso was good. It's a good show. If you haven't watched it, it's funny. My next takeaway is, why is Viola Davis in an actress category when she should be in the supporting actress category? Although I'm not sure if there is a supporting. Yeah, there is in the Golden Globes. That's why she lost. And she shouldn't be an actress. It should be a supporting role. Thank you. And I think that's all my takeaways from this.
I mean, if the homework's any indication, I think she should have just won anyway.
Save your comments for later, sir. But yeah, The Crown, to that, Matt, is actually, it's weird on how engaging it is. Like I watched like the first 2.5 seasons, so I'm kind of behind, but it is very engaging with how kind of boring like the it is, like the subject matter is, because you just kind of like follow these people around through like different decades of their lives, and it's just kind of like okay, but it's very engaging. Like the acting and the set pieces and the dialogue and everything, the writing is very well done.
You're kind of encapsulating how I felt about Queen's Gambit. Like it almost to the T how you described it. Like it was boring for the most part, but for some reason it was engaging with all those still frames and everything.
Well, that was another thing too. That I think we got validated with our love for Anya Taylor-Joy with her weight too. Knew that this was good. So
yes,
that was a good show.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was boring at all. By the way, I liked all of Queen's Gambit. It was shot very well.
Yeah, I agree. I can't remember what I gave that. I think I gave it a 7 overall.
I did sleep on, and I will continue. And I mentioned this before, the whole Rosamund Pike thing. And you said it was because she didn't get her do desserts with Gone Girl that she got it for this. But it's the same character. She plays the same, not the same character, but it's the same emotion that I'm getting.
Yeah.
So that's why.
I think she should have been nominated for a State of Union, but that's just me. Any other news, guys? Nada. Okay, so then you guys know what time it is? It is time to turn on our televisions. It is episode 8, people. We have one more episode after this. Comes out Friday. So this week, we are given a backstory to a lot of important events that happened in Wanda's life. We go all the way back to when she was a kid. We kind of figure out how things are happening and why things are happening. And we'll save most of this for spoilers because a lot of this stuff kind of like expose a lot of things that happened. I may be in the minority between the four of us, but I actually really liked this episode. And I kind of gave this like an 8.5 because it gives you a lot. It doesn't give you answers to the questions that were like presented throughout the series, but it gives you answers to questions that we've all had throughout the MCU when she's first introduced. You kind of see like her as a kid and like why she kind of likes the sorry, that elbow just threw me off.
I'm sorry. I was looking at Ryan the whole time going,
You're on TV.
I know what you're seeing, man. I know what you're seeing. It's okay.
So you get her backstory. You go back to Sokovia and see like everything that has happened to her, why she likes the sitcoms, her whole progression with the Mind Stone, things like that. And this episode is very Wanda heavy. Like you don't get any Vision at all. And you kind of see like where Agatha comes from and things like that. So I actually really enjoyed this episode. I think it was just kind of it's a lot of information filler for a lot of stuff that has happened over the MCU.
Yeah, I think you're right on. I gave this an 8. We're getting obviously more background into how we got to where we are. Like I enjoyed it and I like that we're learning more. But with that being said, it's like I feel like you could kind of guess these things. Like it probably wouldn't be hard to be like, well, maybe this is why this happened, and probably get it on your third guess of why the way things have rolled out.
Oh, come on, Alex. You wouldn't have, we've been talking about this show for 2 months, and you're like, I could have totally predicted all this.
No. I'm talking about going from like either the last episode or the episode before that. That's what I'm talking about. Oh no, you wouldn't have. How are you going to have any idea what's happening?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't understand what you were talking about. I'm like,
no. I'm talking about going from the last episode or the previous episode before that. I'm not talking about the whole show in general.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Oh no. How? Yeah. I'm sitting here in episode 2 going, I hate this. I don't know what's happening. No, I'm talking about taking what we had just prior to this episode. That's what I'm saying. Like you could have guessed, like this is why, No, and in hindsight, I want to say exactly that, Matt. Like, I want to say, oh man, I could have thought about that. But no, honestly, I can't because none of us knew what the heck was going on. But now that we did before episode 8, I'm thinking, yeah, this is what maybe could have been guessed. But no, I'm liking it. I didn't think I would like Catherine Hahn as the baddie, at least the big baddie for right now. But I'm not hating it. It's cool. I think it didn't end cut off to me, like, but it felt like just cut off, like bam, episode 8, stop it, go away, and then come back next week.
Yeah.
It felt a little bit like that. But that's kind of nitpicky. I liked it. I liked a little bit of the darker tone to it. I for a second thought that they were gonna like blatantly start to incorporate mutants, like the concept of the mutant, and like because we've talked about how they haven't done that before because of copyright. What?
Let's get to that in the spoilers.
Okay. Well, anyway, but I thought that was cool, and I'm like, okay, there's some theories coming on here. Yeah, 8. I don't know if I liked it as nearly as much, but yeah, I think I'll save my last couple of thoughts for spoilers. So
Okay.
I need to stop watching this show at 3 a.m. on Friday mornings or Thursday nights because I'm hazy. I'm having to listen to you guys talk about it and then being like, oh yeah, that's what happened. Or I just need to start rewatching them on Wednesdays or Tuesdays. I enjoyed it. It was probably, I'd say, the least gimmicky as far as the series goes. But then again, there was a gimmick. It was basically like a Wanda Christmas Carol,
Right.
where she gets taken into her past and shown everything. I agree with Clint. I enjoyed getting those answers. I don't agree with Alex where I could have predicted everything. I'm just giving you a hard time, man. But it was good. That's a spoiler. I don't want to talk about that until we get to spoilers. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it tied things up. I don't know if it was 8 out of 10 worthy. I think I would give it probably like a low 7 out of 10. It wasn't bad. And the last shot, I think, was kind of exciting and is going into next week where we'll get everything tied up and hopefully 50 fun minutes of pure action-packed bliss. That said, I kind of wish I was a little sad that there weren't more characters in there. Like you said, there wasn't much Vision. We didn't really get any Pietro or any Photon or anything like that. But that's all I got to say about that.
Cool.
Well, if we're going from best to worst, that lines up. I wasn't a big fan of this one. I have a couple very specific reasons. I was not really invested in the first 10 minutes. I had a lot that I was just not able to bear through as far as setup goes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I spent a lot of the first 10 minutes just not paying attention to what was happening and missing important things.
I really didn't want to bring that up, and I was like,
yeah.
I was gonna text you actually.
I knew because I was like, well, it's got to pick up where we left, and yeah. And on top of that, it felt like, when you get any sort of thing that you're trying to break and you create like a good seam and then you bend it and then it just snaps somewhere else. That's what the episode finale felt like for me. Where they have one long episode, they were like, oh, what's the best place to cut this? And they went, oh crap. Okay.
That's exactly what I was mentioning. Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more.
Other than that, it was occasionally interesting to see the flashback stuff. It was a lot of stuff we knew we're just getting to see. So that felt like a weird use of time for only one episode left after this. I was like, why are we spending our finale eve going over stuff we know? I didn't really understand the motivation behind it either. I mean, I'm sure we'll get to it because I guess I don't want to say too much, but it felt very for the audience. And that always bothers me because there's not much that happens from the beginning of the episode to the end of the episode. It feels like there's maybe 5 minutes of actual events that happens in this like 40-minute episode. So I was kind of meh on it.
I feel like Ryan totally captured my thoughts, just a little bit more precise. Yeah, and with less enthusiasm for the episode. I feel like I think you said exactly what I was thinking, just in less time.
I get that. I feel like this episode just, was that putty that was trying to cover up all the cracks that have happened so far in the series to just make the series make sense up to the last chapter,
Right.
which is what we'll get next week. And I think that's all this episode was for.
Well, let's dive into spoilers real quick because there's a lot of stuff that I kind of like skipped over. So spoilers from now on. You guys keep saying like the series and like the questions for the series and stuff like that. And I know that I've said this, but I think that we have underrated the writers in this show on like things that have happened within all of the MCU that they kind of like encapsulate within this show. Because there's a lot of like hints and like throwbacks and like very subtle throwbacks to like even Age of Ultron, and that whole movie and things like that. And yeah, like her seeing herself through the Mind Stone, and like if you pay attention to even the first Avengers, they say like if you look into the Mind Stone, it tells you, like it shows you stuff from the future or things like that, and it shows you stuff. So this was like their way of like throwbacking to like stuff like that. And the stuff that you were mentioning, Alex, is I think that like when she's talking about like the Mind Stone just kind of unlocked something that was already there. I think that was the writer's way of kind of like winking and nodding to like, this is the X gene, and it just kind of unlocked it for everybody. And somehow I think this is the way that the Mind Stone is going to unlock it for the population. And that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. And so I think that's why I kind of like enjoy this episode a lot more, because it kind of winks and nods to a lot of the MCU and throughout stuff like that. And yes, Ryan, I do agree that it is very heavily for the audience and just kind of like, hey, remember this stuff and remember what happens. And it just kind of like Matt said, it's the putty that just kind of like smooths it out and shows everything what's going on. And then you go to like the mid-credit scene with White Vision. That's super dope. Like I'm kind of excited about that. And like her like creating him out of nothing, that kind of answers the question like why he couldn't leave the Hex either. So that was kind of interesting. So
did anybody else go ahead, Matt?
I was just gonna say I'm just happy she's not lugging around a dead Vision body around with her everywhere. That she just made it up out of her chaos magic, if you will. So that was nice.
I got tripped up by that flashback of her with that was whose organization? Hydra? Yeah. And she's in that room and they're like testing the Mind Stone on her. I was totally thrown off. I was like, I knew it was a Mind Stone. I knew it. Like, but it was blue and it was in like an object that looked like Loki's scepter from the first Avengers. And I thought, oh, that's the Tesseract. That's the Space Stone. And I was like, no, I know better. But why is it blue? And then it goes all yellow. And I'm like, okay, you guys could have just made it yellow. I don't know if I'm missing something there, but
you're not. I think it's the blend of forethought and not forethought.
Right. Yeah, I was just like, okay. I mean, I know that was coming, but you threw me off there for a second.
It's like encased in something.
Yeah.
Something.
But I agree with you, Clint. I like the idea of the frosty blue Vision. I was like, I don't know if that's in any comics because I'm a comic book reader. Okay. Like, okay, is that a big huge thing?
Yes.
Okay.
During the mid 80s, he actually dies. Kind of in the same, not in the same way, but he does die. And
spoiler alert, I'm thinking that during the early 2020s, he's gonna die again.
But yes, they do assemble him back together, except without the mind waves from Wonder Man. So essentially the same way. He dies, and this is their way of bringing him back without the Mind Stone, which gives him the emotions.
Okay. Huh.
So he's actually
Good
white
stuff.
for a while.
Do we have predictions on what might happen for the finale?
I mean, I'm pretty sure I think that Vision's going to end up blowing himself up. Well, himself and Vision up, both of them. I don't think they're going to make it out. I also think that Wanda is somehow going to, and this is just foreshadowing the fact that, Agnes mentioned something about runes, controlling people. I'm pretty sure I feel like Wanda's going to put rune symbols up around her little hex. And have some control there. Who knows where that's going to go? I'm more interested to see if there's another hint at a bigger bad. That's kind of what I'm more interested in, to see if there's something else besides Agnes. I'm prepared either way. It wouldn't surprise me if there's not, just because I feel like this show has been more prone to give you more questions than answers. And I feel like that's probably what we're going to get, is just more questions at the end of the show. We'll just have to wait till more Marvel product comes out.
And then that begs me to ask, because we all know that after this Friday is a break time, but then the Winter Soldier and Falcon and Winter Soldier comes out, and there's probably not going to be any direct connection other than the fact that they're in the MCU. But do we think that those will, like, what's the word? Aggressively connect?
From my understanding, they're happening at the same time.
Oh. Okay.
Because WandaVision is supposed to happen like a month or two after Endgame, and then Falcon and Winter Soldier is supposed to happen just kind of like in the same time frame.
Doesn't WandaVision actually, does it take place before Far From Home?
I was gonna ask the same thing, Matt, because a couple of us were watching it today, and I'm the only one who had been watching all the way up, like all the episodes before, and they were asking me, what time does this take place, during Infinity War, after? I was like, no, after Infinity War. And I was like, I can't tell if it's during Endgame, like during the last part of Endgame, or exactly after.
No, it's like a few weeks later.
Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Because if you remember, she gets dusted at the end of Infinity War.
Okay, yeah. See, it's hard to remember who did and who didn't sometimes.
She got snapped out.
She gets blipped.
Yeah. So, Ryan, any predictions before I give mine?
A whole lot of setup for other things.
Ryan, that came out of left field. Oh my gosh.
Right. To predict the finale, I think that Wanda's going to have to say goodbye to her Vision. I do think that White Vision is going to stick around for at least a little while, because he does in the books. Like he's around for quite a while until they kind of give him his humanity back. So I think that's probably going to play into it for a little while. As far as like hinting at a big bad, I think that it's probably going to be Agnes's husband, Ralph, because she keeps mentioning him, and she's mentioned him throughout the series, and we've never really given a face to the name. So it may be like one of these mid or end credit scenes where like Thanos comes at the end of Avengers, and it's like, oh yeah, I know who that is, type of thing. So I think that it's going to be one of those. I don't think that we're going to fully see who Ralph is.
Hopefully it won't be a talking cicada.
Let's hope not.
So stupid.
And I think we're gonna kind of give an answer to who Pietro is, because that's what I'm kind of curious in, like, who that is as well.
Yeah. Another thing that was interesting was they mentioned how Wanda's kind of conjuring up this whole world. Obviously, we know that, and then Agnes. What's her actual name now? Is it Agatha?
Agatha Harkness. Yeah.
Yeah. She says, like, okay, this was just my little touch here, and she says Pietro was that touch, if I remember correctly. So that was kind of, I thought that was an interesting way of introducing him, that version of Pietro, and like with that actor, and then I don't know, like you can segue him in and out depending on how it's received.
Right.
I don't know why that I felt that like that was effective, but
Throw us off.
I don't have any predictions myself. I was just curious if you guys did.
No. Yeah. Few of them.
Well, we'll see in 2 days.
Yeah, man.
Well,
Any
by
other
the
thoughts?
time this comes out, we'll have known what happened. So you can tell us in the comments.
You guys keep taking shots at me and like trying to put these videos up. What's the deal? Last week it was Ryan, and now it's you.
No,
I haven't
man,
said
that's just
anything.
how
I appreciate it, Clint.
That's
Thank
just
you.
how. Oh, shut up.
Cut you off now. Any other thoughts on WandaVision episode 8? None? All right. Well, this television is off. We reviewed a thing this week. A very polarizing thing this week. The United States versus Billie Holiday, and it's about her drug addiction and the 10 years of time between her 1947 and her death in 1954, 56. I don't know. I wanted to commit suicide after this, so I was way bummed out. So it's sometime in between there where the U.S. government is giving her a hard time about her drug addiction and her song "Strange Fruit." I'm gonna let you guys go because, like I said, this movie was very polarizing for me, and I don't know if I like it or not. So I'm gonna listen to you guys first.
I think my review is probably going to be the quickest because.
Au contraire.
Wait a second. Hold on. Okay. Now you said you watched or you did the homework ish.
I got 30
And-
minutes in.
Oh man, I didn't think I was going to beat any of you on this.
Wow.
I didn't think. Yeah, because I made it an hour and 8 minutes in because. Okay, I'm gonna let Ryan go because he only got a half hour in, so that just makes sense.
So I watched 2 new things, this and Tom and Jerry, and one of those was much better. It was just I now maybe it gets really good by the end, but I sat through 30 minutes of generally underwhelming writing that went from fine to why are we shoehorning narration, then forgetting it, then going back to it. The linear story didn't work very well for me. The editing was really bad. I won't get into why it was bad. I thought that was not well made. The cross cutting was really, really sloppy. It was like, let's cross cut between this thing and this thing is happening. And I'm like, nothing is happening in either thing. So nothing is interesting on screen. Like, oh, she's singing a song and she's sitting down. And she's singing the song and she's sitting down. And she's singing the song. She's sitting down. Upset face. Not very well. I mean, I haven't seen this actress in anything except for bad movies, according to my IMDb. And so, I guess she did fine comparatively. She can sing, but every time she sang, I just wanted to play Fallout because that's the music I was listening to. And so, I don't know. That's not fair. Strike that from the record. But I mean, her performance was fine, but it's not like she was given a lot to work with. I'm a little surprised she won a Golden Globe for this, and I don't think it's her fault. She definitely has the character down, but she's also given such vague direction, like, oh, look up dramatically. And I'm like, oh, who? It's not. I don't think it was very competently put together at all, and I hated all the characters. I got 30 minutes in, and I didn't like anybody. If I had liked anybody in the movie, I would have kept watching. But I was having Hulu problems. It took me 20 minutes to get it to load on Hulu because Hulu refused to play just that title. Then it died, and I was like, oh, it's a sign. So I'm not going to rate it because it might be very good, but that was not my experience with it.
It's just not his forte.
I like how it's, it again, it's not this movie's fault. It's the studio's fault. for having a prominent African American role model who has this relationship with a government official put under them to kind of undermine them in some way, just after we had that movie 2 weeks ago. But much better.
Yeah.
Huh.
Go ahead,
I like the
Alex.
score. I guess I'm not done. I'm sorry. I have two more things I had to point out. I was gonna say I really like the score, but then there's one scene where the score fades with another piece of the score, but it's very jarring. And then their scene is supposed to be sad, but then it's funny because she let a dog choke to death. I like.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
now I know what you're talking
confused
about.
me. Yeah, I remember that.
All over the place. I'm done.
Man, I mean, in a half hour, he's more elegant and more thoughtful, for lack of a better word, than I will be. Yeah, this movie was okay. I can understand her Golden Globe Adria Diz Golden Globe for this. It's fine. Like I'm not blown away by her performance. But I think that's something that this movie I think gets a pass on for me is because I don't know the actual singer. So I can't judge that very well. It was kind of like Rocket Man because I didn't really know much of Elton John's history. I didn't know he struggled with drug addiction, and I didn't know anything about Billie Holiday and her drug addiction. So I can't say I'm not an accurate person to say if her performance as that singer is genuine and authentic. So I don't think it's fair to mention it really. I think the title is misleading to, and I only made it an hour into the movie, so maybe it takes a completely different turn. But I was like, it feels like it's supposed to be Billie Holiday's struggle of dealing with racial injustice and prejudice. Like a lot of the movies we've been watching recently. So that's what I was expecting, but it's more of her battle with heroin addiction, mostly. And I'm like, okay. And I agree with Ryan. None of the characters are likable at all. Fun fact: the guy. This is why I texted you guys this earlier. That Chris Rock was in it because the guy who plays Chris Rock in that show, Everybody Hates Chris, is in it. He's like one of the sax players. And I was like, oh, that's funny. But even him, like, I want to like him. I don't know why because of that, but I want to like him, and I don't. I don't like anybody in this. And I'm not a prude when it comes to like profanity or high intensity scenes like this, or like this movie has. Like we've watched Pieces of Woman. We've watched a lot of heavy stuff recently, so I'm not stranger to that. But I'm just like, if I don't like anybody and it's profane and it just isn't getting any better, I don't see the point in continuing with this. It's just and again, it's like Ryan said, it probably went really, really good in another direction, hence the Golden Globe. So, but that's another thing. I think she deserves it. Like, I don't think she deserves it per se. Like, I think she's fine. I think there are more other actresses who were deserving of it, but I think that's more of, like Ryan said, it's the writing's fault and the way that the movie is shot that I don't think she deserves it. But that's just me. I don't know if it's fair for me to give it a score. If I have to, because I was only able to make it halfway through the movie, I'm going to give it a half an average score, which on IMDb was like 6.5. So I'm giving this a 3 because this is one of the ones I could not make it through. I was like, this is a bummer, and I'm like, nah, I can't make it through this. So maybe Matt and Clint will enlighten us. Although I'm not looking too much towards Clint. Probably Matt has something to say. So go ahead, my friend.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I don't really have that much to say. It was all right. No, I'm just playing. as far as movies go, I didn't really. I don't know if I gave this one a fair shake either. I put it on and I got distracted pretty easily because I was doing chores at the time, but I was still trying to pay attention and had to pause it like 3 times and have to restart it. I did end up watching like probably about the first 30 minutes, like where I did uninterrupted. I forgot what Ryan texted. You said that this movie's a bit much, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot agree more. The movie starts off with this photograph, and I'm like, I see the photograph, and I think it's just white guys, smiling and laughing. I'm like, oh man, is this like a prohibition photo? Is this? Are they celebrating? Are they having a party? And the photo pans out, and there's like a charred carcass of like a dead black person on there, and I'm like, oh, this is where we're going right now. Great. So then after that, like little change of, mental like emotion for me, we go into the next scene, which has, God, I can't remember the actor's name. Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up. Mr. Leslie Jordan and his fantabulous self. And I don't know about you guys, but talk about a little over the top and too much. This man brings it a little too much. And so I was already rubbed the wrong way within the first 5 minutes of this movie. I agree with what Alex says from what I've seen. This movie, I feel like this movie is mainly, Andrea Day playing Billie Holiday, singing her songs and dealing with alcohol or heroin addiction. That's literally this entire movie, or at least that's how it felt with me. I'm assuming, her performance was, I guess, great. I don't really know Billie Holiday. I'm not a huge fan, so I can't really compare it. But if you're playing somebody who's like glazed eye and like, has a sad or like intense, longing in their face and, can try to be charismatic and then go out and sing really well, then yeah, she does a great job. It's really great. And then on top of that, there's nothing that this woman wouldn't do on camera. Not that that's bad, that's the direction, but she goes all out. She bears everything, literally. So it's not like she holds anything back in this role whatsoever, for good or for bad. So, I guess that's why she won an award for it, because it wasn't horrible. And she did everything. She went above and beyond the Call of Duty for this role, I guess. But I couldn't connect with it. I don't think it's a great movie, and I think that's probably why that the only nominations you saw were for her really for this, because nothing else in this film is good. Right. And her role is sticking out. And I looked it up, and I don't know what you saw, Ryan. I don't know if she's been in any. She's been in like a couple 2 small roles, but this is like her big role that she's ever had. And I think she's more of a musician than an actress before anyway. I don't know if she's won musical awards or not. I didn't check that out. It wouldn't surprise me if she hasn't or has. But yeah, I feel bad because I didn't sit there and watch this whole thing, straight on. And it took me, 3 pauses to get through it. But at the same time, I just couldn't, and me, I'll sit there and watch everything, but I just couldn't connect with this film. And it just seemed to just mull on and on with the same beat and the same pacing. And I thought I saw scenes, like the same scenes over, like at least a couple times, because everything was so repetitive in this film. What's up, Brian?
It's funny that you say that. When the first time it died out on us, tried to get it back, and we couldn't find our place.
Wow.
It's like she's either sitting in a room high on drugs, talking to some dude, or she's on stage singing, or she's being intimate with other people. That's pretty much it. Like that's how the circle goes. And I wasn't really getting a lot. I kind of wish there was more. Like I feel I agree with Alex that the term the U.S. versus Billie Holiday is a little misleading. I feel like there wasn't enough of that. You should have just called it Billie Holiday. If we're doing that. So, but I'm assuming it's probably based on a book, maybe. I don't even know that. But it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah. So that's probably where they got that title from. It wasn't offensive. From her performance alone, I'm torn between a 4 or a 5. I definitely wouldn't give it a 6. But just for her performance and her singing alone, gosh, I'm gonna have to say 5. So I'd give it a 5 out of 10. I don't see if I watched it again, like from beginning to end, staring at the screen and taking it all in, I don't think that would go up at all. If anything, it might go down. So 5 out of 10. And that's all I got to say about that.
Okay, so now after listening to you all, the best way that I can describe this movie for the two of you that didn't actually finish this movie is this is one long montage. And that's how it felt for me. Because like you guys, and I completely agree with everything you guys have said. This movie is very misleading. Because at the beginning of this movie, it's about this song, "Strange Fruit," and this song is, if you guys don't know what the song is about, it's about lynching that she witnessed. And I'm a huge fan of Billie Holiday's. I listen to like all that jazz. Um, anyway, so
I get it.
So it starts off about the song and how they're not going to allow her to get this sing this song, and then it goes to her like them going to try and crack down on her and trying to like on her drug use, which then like supersedes everything and anything in this movie. Like they try to drill this point in and like that she is like a heroin addict. Like I was almost sick of it by like halfway through this movie. I'm like, okay, I get it. She's a drug addict. I understand that. Like all troubled artists are. Some form of alcoholism or drug use or whatever else. I get it. But I thought this movie was about this song and this time period in her life where she's trying to sing this and everything. And it's like I had to stop watching it and like Wikipedia some of the events that happened during this time frame. There's like a lot of stuff that happens in her life um between this time period that kind of like they don't even touch on. And like this, there's just a lot of stuff for me that like I understand that they wanted to show like that the government couldn't take her down by singing this song and that they were going to find something that they were going to take her down by. And it seemed to me like they didn't answer the question, why her? Why is it that they wanted to take Billie Holiday out of all of these like performers that are going around on this time? Why her? Like, why does this like seem to be like she seems to be the focus of this? And like the only thing I can think of is that it's her movie. It's the only thing I can think of. But like you said, like Matt, like it was just like a long montage of like drug use and then abusive men and then her singing stage and then drug use and then abusive men and then her being on stage and like it was just like this whole thing. And there's like one point during the movie like I didn't even understand where the hell she was at. Like there's this scene where she kind of like she goes in there and like she would like sees a lynching apparently, and then she goes through the house and it's not her house, but then it becomes like her backstage, and then it's like then she's back on stage and then she's in the house and it's like what the hell is going on? And then she's on stage again and she sings this song and it's like okay, all right. um but it was like that's the only thing I could think of. And I think the movie should have done like it should have made its point, and I think it did, like you said, Ryan, in like the first 30 minutes. Like this is the point of the movie, but show why she kind of like transcended color barriers, why she was so popular, not focus so much on like why she was this drug addict and like why she was this hard person to get along with and everything. And I think that's why she kind of like won this award, Andrea Day did, because you kind of feel that she is like this very hard person to get to know because of, but it doesn't say why, just because of her drug use and the abuse of men and all this other stuff, but it doesn't really kind of go into why she kind of leads this life. So I think the movie had potential. Huh?
I was going to say, if you want to give an award to anybody playing that character, give it to Viola Davis.
I was exactly going to say the same thing.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that because I mean, there's lots of characters and different roles you can compare that to, but very recently, that is a very direct comparison. And as soon as she was on screen, I was like, I hate this character, but I love this character.
Right.
You just got the character so well.
Right. And I think, and I completely agree with you. And I think that's why I think that Viola Davis probably deserves this more than Andrea Day, because it's like you take Ma Rainey's Black Bottom and it's only like a few hours in this recording studio, and you know instantly that you can't stand this woman for one reason or another. But like you said, Ryan, you respect who she is. This movie was an hour, 2 hours and 10 minutes. And it's like, I understand who Billie Holiday is because I listen to her music and I kind of know who she is. But like I said, like, I just think that she was a drug addict. That was it.
Mhm.
That's all I got out of the movie.
Yeah.
And it's like I can listen to Nirvana and feel the same way. Like I don't. It's like it's the
Jeez.
same thing. So I kind of gave this like a 5 because of her performance is really good. She sounds a lot like Billie Holiday. Um, and I know that I've read like articles that she kind of like had to rasp her voice because of this. So I kind of give her props for that. But no, I can't. I won't recommend this to anybody because it's like it doesn't really show who Billie Holiday was, except for her being a drug addict.
Yeah, I think this movie had missed opportunity. You kind of jogged my memory about Bohemian Rhapsody actually could have gone another way because Sacha Baron Cohen was kind of tagged with the movie too because they were thinking about going with him because he looks, like Freddie Mercury. But he wanted to be on only if they kind of showed his more wild side and with his drug addiction and his promiscuity, promiscuousness, whatever. I don't know the word for that. But anyway, but they were like, no, we want to show the more artistic side of him, and honor him that way. And I think this movie did the other side of
Right.
the mirror. It focused on her battling with abusing substances, whereas they could have flipped it around and been more artistic and then show a little bit of light on that stuff. Yeah, but maybe that was a bigger part of her life than we're maybe realizing. So maybe they felt like they had to do it that way. I don't know, but maybe they could have done it where like less is more. Like show that stuff for sure, make it aware and show her struggle with it, but show why you're leaning into that life. I mean, there's tons of drug addicts that we're looking into this one because she's a famous singer. And
Well, I sorry to cut you off, Alex, but
You're
it
good.
was it's like Ryan, you were touching on like the editing of this movie, and it's like I think that was the detriment of this movie because it doesn't get any better. Like it's very jarring, very quick, very like it jumps from one scene, and like I said, it is basically watching like a 2 hour and 10 minute montage of her being a drug addict, and you can only catch certain lines of dialogue for her to be clean, for you to actually know that she's clean. You know, see what I'm saying? It's like you were saying, Alex. It's like if they would have shown like those downtimes and like her being artistic and things like that, and trying to like her trying to fight it, but the scenes are so quick and cut like so jarringly that it's like I thought that she was high the whole time, and until she said that she was clean, I had no idea.
yeah, right. I feel the same way. Exactly.
So
So this is a rounding success from all of us, a 5.53 and incomplete.
I gave it a 5 too. I was thinking about it and I was like, I don't, every time I want to give a 4, I think of a movie that has set my standard for a 4. Right now, The Little Things is my perfect 4. This was definitely 1 point better than that, but exactly 1 point better than that.
yeah,
I mean, it's a excellent way of judging movie to movie, but I don't.
It never matters by the end of the year.
yeah.
Last year, my 4 was Fantasy Island, and it didn't even crack my top 10 worst of the year.
Yeah,
Nice.
I think I remember last year was like, all right, how many crappy movie can Ryan fill in a day?
So bad.
That's what 2020 was.
All right. So, any other thoughts on United States versus Billie Holiday?
Save yourself
God,
2
no.
hours.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah. Please.
You know what's a better use of an hour 40 minutes?
I was gonna say you three reviewed something else this week, so go for it.
I'll whoever wants to open it up, be my guest.
I was really negative, so I wouldn't mind starting with an unrealistically positive review. I'm just teasing. It's fine. Tom and Jerry's fine. So I have 2 very conflicting opinions about this movie. Now to set a kind of standard, I never watched Tom and Jerry, wasn't allowed to, and I wasn't interested.
Shocker.
So this half of the story, every single time it's Tom and Jerry doing Tom and Jerry things, I was like, I don't care. And I don't think it's actually well put together. I don't think the animation works that well, and it's constantly set to like upbeat hip hop. Why? I don't know. Don't know if it matches Tom and Jerry or not. It feels like a weird choice of updating. And I mean, there's a couple. It's not entertaining. You can. It's an hour 40 minutes. Alex, I don't know if you were comparing this to Sonic. You were comparing.
No, it was Matt who was jokingly.
Yeah.
it
But
to
yeah,
Sonic.
no. So that's how I felt. I was like, you know what? There are worse ways to spend my time than watching this. That said, I really enjoyed a lot of the comedy, more on the human side. And I knew nothing going into this, so I was like, "Oh, they're in this. They're in this. They're in this." So that was a good laugh right away. There's a quality in this writing that's genuinely clever. It comes with just the sheer commitment by some of these performers. Chloe Grace Moretz gives this role her all, and she way overdoes it sometimes. And there's probably no other way to do it. Michael Pena, same thing, does that Tim Curry over the top commitment to it. And I had to look this guy up because I don't know him from anything else. Rob Delaney, who I guess is a comedy writer, who plays like the head honcho of this hotel. Hilarious performance.
Yeah, he was. Wasn't he the guy who was like Sugar Bear or Honey Bear or something in what was it? Deadpool 2?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, he was a guy who was just like a regular dude in like the X Force.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, and between he and like the dialogue he was given, which really builds on itself, I got a couple really good laughs out of it. That said, it's a 5 out of 10. Now I know that's the same rating I just gave a movie I just really negative on. I didn't finish that movie. The quality versus quantity of Tom and Jerry is definitely not there. Like, I don't think it's that well made. It's a little nonsensical. The story's not really well held together. There's no character development, and the conflicts are either just kind of thrown together very haphazardly to the point where everyone's like, "Oh, it's this fault," and I'm like, "It's kind of everybody's fault." Like, the movie kind of misses the mark on some quality story writing, as if Tom and Jerry needs some quality story writing. So it's fine. I mean, I say 5 out of 10. I think it's definitely worth putting on just if you want a good laugh. I wouldn't rush out to theaters if you guys have theaters. But I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it enough.
I agree with a lot of that. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and give my rating now. I think it's also a 5, because I didn't. It's exactly how you put it. Like, it's not entertaining. Like, I would sit and watch this for an extended period of time, but then after a while, I'd be like I could probably have taken 20 minutes less and have been just as, entertained. For someone like me who grew up with Tom and Jerry, watched it not seldom, but watched it somewhat often. I was like, it's accurate. It's a lot of the staples in Tom and Jerry cartoons, like irons to the face and big elaborate contraptions that just do a simple task like dropping a cage on something. There's all kinds of stuff like that, and then like a montage of Tom trying to get into something or get to some balcony or something. That I a lot of that was like, okay, I see you're trying to please the oldies in here, and it's not bad. It's in fact, I want to say that this movie was more entertaining when they were on screen, because this is where I differ, Ryan. I feel like this is how I feel like you felt during Godzilla, during King of the Monsters. I'm all like, the human element. I'm just like, I'm so bored with it. I don't want this. I don't want to hear about people talking about a wedding. I just want to see Tom and Jerry like do slapstick crap all over the place. That's when I enjoyed the movie. And I was just like, all right, how long do we have to put up with, Michael Pena and everybody kind of overacting? Not because they're bad actors, but because the subject, like, it's a kids movie. They're supposed to be like, wow, what are you doing? What? That's what this kind of movie is. I can't fault them for that. But I'm also not going to give them a Golden Globe for it, so. you know, and I love Michael Pena. You know, guy brings it in anything he's in, but I'm not giving that an excuse to be like, oh, I absolutely loved the human interaction in this movie. You know, it is what it is. It's entertaining. Story's good enough to kind of keep it glued together, but that's like keeping the Titanic together with glue. I'm like, you know, I don't think it works too great. Like the continuity is not it's not great, but again, who's asking for that? It's a kids movie. They're not there to see that kind of stuff. They're just there to see a cat and a mouse chase each other. And it does that, and it's fine. I think it succeeds in what it set out to do. And I agree with you, Ryan. There's different types of fives, or there's different types of scores that can be the same. So like you can give one a 5 and be like, oh, that was actually okay. But then give another a 5 and be like, oh, that's the low end of the spectrum. So I agree. 5 on this one. I enjoyed this more. Did not want to hurt people after this movie. So that's my thoughts.
Such a long-winded response, Alex. Nice review.
Thank you.
After 50 years, the clamoring of people has been heard and Tom and Jerry has been made into a film. Thank God.
Did you write this down?
No, I didn't.
Can we see a
This is off
reflection
the
of a
cuff.
teleprompter behind?
This is off the cuff.
Really, why did this movie get made? Did they purchase this property at some point and then we're looking at a list of things they owned and we're like, crap, this is about to expire. We should make a movie before we, have spent all that money, and then nothing comes from it. I don't understand why this happened. First things first, and you kind of touched on it, Ryan. The animation in this film is god awful. I know the style I think they were going for, but I don't know if it was done cheaply or if that's what they were really intending. Maybe it was going to look better in 3D if that was going to be the case, but it just does not work with this film. The animation you see better stuff in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which is what they should have gone for, not this 3D garbage that just looks like trash. First things first, that's bad. I also agree with Ryan. The best thing in this movie for me was the overacting. And that's because these people don't have anything else to do. They're in here to collect a paycheck and to be on screen for a summer movie, which, spoiler alert, didn't come out in the summer now. So, but thankfully, Michael Pena took this role, who is one of the greatest actors of our generation. I've already said he's one of the greatest comedic actors, but you can't sleep on his dramatic chops too. And if this man doesn't get a Lifetime Achievement Award in like 35 years, it's going to be a travesty. So he was great in here. I also want to know who Chloe Grace Moretz's agent is, because I just want to go through some of this girl's movies, and I'm assuming she gets lots of scripts.
She was an Equalizer, wasn't she?
Yes. I don't know,
Yeah.
but we're gonna. First things first, kick ass. All right, that's fine. Little 10-year-old Chloe Grace chopping heads off. And then the really amazing horror film Greta, which I laugh at. I think Ryan might like, but I'm not sure. I think it's funny. Then the horrible film The Fifth Wave.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, she
I heard that was
retired after that.
awful.
Yeah. Did anybody remember Hugo? Remember that movie, Hugo? Is it Ryan? Do you have that?
Is that an
It's in the
animated thing?
collection.
Do I have Hugo? Is that a question?
I need you to break that out so I can
think that's
tell.
the first film she uses her amazing British
Oh,
accent
never
in.
mind.
So that's good. That's
Martin
classic.
Scorsese love letter to classic film.
She's such a comedic actress too. Neighbors 2. I don't know if anybody's seen that, but after Neighbors 1, we were all clamoring for Neighbors 2, or at least I was. And thankfully, she signed on to be on board. So that was good. And then, Carrie, the remake of Carrie with her in it, great. And then also, this kind of hurts me a little bit, the remake of Let Me In, which is sad because I really like that movie. And I know they had to Americanize it so that people in America could watch it, but it's just sad that they had to do that. But yeah, she's all over the place. And Leslie, she decided to I guess be in this Tom and Jerry movie. For what reason? I don't know. I mean, I guess she's a good fit. She did okay. I don't really think she's a great comedic actress, but she's over the top, so I guess it plays off. I think the biggest thing that hurts this movie, aside from the animation, is the fact that this movie is based on two characters that don't talk. Like there's no communication whatsoever except for them looking. When they look like garbage, they communicate like garbage. So I don't think it works out. If you want to watch a movie, like a bad movie with animated characters in the real world, go watch like Rocky and Bullwinkle, which is infinitely better than this, and it's 20 years older. Go check that out.
You're gonna be a little bit mad, Matt. When before you two jumped on, I was giving my thoughts to Clint, and I was like, he said people have compared this to Roger Rabbit, not Roger, yeah, Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Rabbit, yeah.
I first thought of Rocky and Bullwinkle because the animation style, and I actually heard it was flipped. Like I heard people hated Rocky and Bullwinkle, but like this. But you're saying it should be the opposite.
Yeah, I feel like, and this is me saying this without seeing, I haven't watched Rocky and Bullwinkle probably in, 15 plus years. So I don't know. But I feel like it's probably aged like a fine wine compared to what this will happen. And,
It has not.
oh, well then never mind.
It has about the same critic rating, and by this time, what's it, 21 years old? 21 years from now, this will have the same user ratings.
Okay, so they're similar then.
20.
So I still
42.
stick by my guns that if you want to see a film like this, watch Rocky and Bullwinkle because it's more entertaining because the characters talk and the animation probably looks better than this. I don't understand the soundtrack either. There was a lot of hip hop going on. I guess it's a kids movie and kids like to dance, so that's why they put it in here. Yeah, I'm gonna give this probably like a 4 out of 10. I'm not giving it a 5. It's not horrible. I will say this. It's not bad. It's entertaining enough with the adults in it that it makes it slightly enjoyable with those scenes. The part that's bad is the actual Tom and Jerry part, which maybe should knock it down to a 3, but I'm sticking with a 4. Also, I would like to say, are all the animals in this world CGI?
Yeah, I was watching it. I was
watching
watching it with my brother, and he said the same thing. He goes, "Is every creature animated?"
So in this world, humans are humans, but anything else like living is apparently a CGI. No, yeah, that's right. Her cat was CGI too.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. It wasn't. I'm not recommending it to anybody. You can put it on as background noise if you want to. If you have a small child, they may or may not like it. I'm not even confident enough to say that a small child would like this. So because it's not funny enough. But that's what I did.
Get the self-aware humor either, which is hit or miss.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny when it was a hit, but it was a little like, oh, let's make a Disney joke and say, can we say that? And I'm like, yeah, everything that's not Disney's made that Disney joke.
Yeah, that I do remember that. I forgot about it until you just said it. Yeah, I was like, okay.
Oh, that's like the joke they lead with too.
Yeah, then that made me think, okay, this is gonna be this type of movie, and like, nope, we just had that one little joke to throw out there, and then the rest is what it is.
Also, this movie, now this may be my lack of experience with Tom and Jerry. I guess Jerry's the bad guy. Because Tom's
flips,
like, I
doesn't
want to
it?
have a career and follow my passion, and Jerry's like, screw that. I want to make you fail so I can have an apartment.
Yeah, this movie does do that. I think in the grand scheme of Tom and Jerry products, he's
Flips
just
a
looking.
lot.
Yeah, they kind of do that, but it's like for the most part. I mean, Clint probably has seen way more episodes, so he could probably be a better.
Well, I used to watch old Looney Tunes and like these Tom and Jerry's with like my grandfather. So we'd sit and watch like hours of like Bugs Bunny and Tom and Jerry. But from what I remember, it depends on the context of the episode. So it kind of flips back and forth.
Yeah, and like cartoons like that, I think all the smaller characters sometimes seems like can come across as a jerk. Like even like Tweety Bird sometimes comes across like a jerk sometimes, and you're just like, they're small and cute, and it's funny.
Yeah,
we're giving them a pass because they're little. But I think that's just how it plays out. I'm not even talking about the logic of this plot, by the way. Like, I don't understand how this girl got a job at this hotel.
Don't get into the logic of any of this movie.
No, I thought the same thing. I'm like, okay, there's background checks, drug tests. This girl's just like, hey, I got this resume. Oh man, you're this person.
I guess in the defense of the continuity of the movie, the same person that hires her does hire a cat the same day.
Keeping it consistent at least, yeah.
So the movie just sticks with it.
Dude, that didn't even bother me as much as the thing I hated the most about this movie, and it's a weird thing to hate, it was the bulldog that's owned by the famous couple. I don't know why I'm so bothered by it. I think it's because, like Matt said, they Tom and Jerry don't talk, and that's a frustrating thing. But then the bulldog talks.
Yeah, but that's funny.
It doesn't.
Okay.
It does in the shorts. So
Yeah, I do remember that he does that in the shorts. But I think that animation, like I overall wasn't bothered by it, but when it comes to the bulldog, I was, because like when they walk him, he's walking like a person, and that I don't know why that bugs me so much. He's just like, it's just weird, and they're showing him and where he's defecating in certain scenes. Spoiler alert, like twice in the movie.
Spoilers, there's poop jokes.
And I'm just
How
like,
dare they put poop jokes in a kid's film?
oh, I'm not saying
I want to see
love
one
poop
kid's film that doesn't.
I'm just saying it's dumb.
Yeah.
I just like the fact that you compared this movie to Godzilla, Alex.
Me
No.
too.
that was
I was
amazing.
comparing my feelings for human interaction.
I
This movie that
I
Ryan felt in that.
absolutely got more enjoyment out of this than I did King of the Monsters. And I gave both of them a
Oh,
5.
Ryan, I gotta
One
slap
of them's
you
a good
little
5,
bit.
one of them's a bad 5.
Ooh,
Ryan, can you buy a
This-
plane ticket and come over
this
to the
is-
East Coast so
This
I
is
can
like
give you
30 minutes shorter, and I laughed.
All right. Well, that sounds like a good place to interject. All
We're gonna have
right.
a people tornado. People fighting people tornado.
Yeah. And that was Tom and Jerry.
it's like for Godzilla and versus Kong comes out, it's like, we're sorry to announce that Ryan's absence is all of a sudden,
Wasn't invited that
but
week.
he hates these movies, so we said you're whatever.
Oh, I'm gearing up for it. I'm watching starting the old original Toho Godzilla and then the original Kong, and I'm just working my way up. And I'm not watching
when
all
we,
35 of them, but
When we get to that week, I'm going first before you, Ryan, so then you don't ruin it for me.
deal. I'll ruin it after you.
All right. So we have one more review from Mr. Alex. Alex's Classic Corner. This week you watched Studio Ghibli classic Spirited Away. Take it away.
I feel like this is maybe the most anticipated, if there's any anticipation at all from any of my classics. I don't know, because I think that has the most reactions on Facebook. But so let me say that this movie actually wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And you may be thinking, or whatever, what did you think this movie was going to be? I don't know. When I see the cover or the poster for it, I don't know what I'm thinking. Like it's gonna be real spiritual, like it's gonna be super trippy, and I'm not gonna know what's going on, and there's gonna be some underlying thing that I just don't know. But no, this is a pretty straightforward film. It's I felt like this movie, the story was a little on ADHD or had a little Tourette's, because I felt like things were just kind of happening just because, hey, let's have this happen. But that's not bad. I like the animation. I'm not crazy about. I think this is why I wasn't ever into Studio Ghibli films, is because the animation is good, but I don't like the character designs or the character renderings. Like, I think they're almost too detailed. Like, for example, the old lady in this, what's her name? Ayuba or something? I don't know.
Yoba.
The old gigantic small lady with the gigantic face and nose. She has so much crazy amount of detail in her face that it's really off-putting at times, and it's just like, okay, can you tone it down? It's like I've mentioned the phrase "less is more," and that applies here too. But otherwise, I liked the flow of the animation. It was very fluid. I was actually impressed that this was a 2001 film, and I was like, this feels really quality in terms of animation. So I like that. And I didn't know exactly what to expect because we had kind of touched upon this last week about how Ghibli films are darker in tone. And I think this definitely feels like that. It has a darker side. It's not completely like, it's no Black Cauldron, but you know, it's got its darkness to it for sure. But I kind of liked it for that, and it was, yeah, it was enjoyable. It was a fun little ride. I don't know if I would say that it was absolutely great. Like, I looked at IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes. It had like a 96, I think, on Rotten Tomatoes, and like an 8.5 on IMDb. And I don't know if I can go that far. I did enjoy it. Would I watch this again? I think so. I think I'd give it a little bit of time. Oh, and there were a lot of Disney familiar actors with this. Like the main girl. I didn't expect this at all. I was like, why do I know this voice? It's because the same person was the voice of Lilo from Lilo and Stitch. I was like, oh, that's a fun little nugget. And then, like, the guy who plays who is the guy who plays Max Goof in all those, you know, early 2000s, late 90s stuff. And then there was a person who played Meg in the Hercules movie. She was in that. And there was somebody else in there somewhere. And I was like, man, either Disney poached these guys or I don't know what. But I enjoyed it. It was, I think I'd give it a 7. I was kind of mulling around a 6.5, 7 with this. I think it was successful in my rating for it, and it makes me want to watch more Studio Ghibli films, even with that kind of weird character rendering. The story's fine. I think it accomplished what it needed to. Yeah, Studio Ghibli's Spirited Away. I thought I was gonna hate this. I really thought this was gonna be a chore for me, but I was like watching it, and then I looked at my watch, and I was like, oh, an hour's gone by. I went by quick.
Mm-hmm.
So that's usually a good sign because you know you're interacting or you're connecting with it so well. So 7 out of 10. It's a pretty good 7. I would watch more from this studio later on.
Next
Yay!
is Grave of the Fireflies.
I actually yeah, right. Wait, what were we talking about last week where we wanted me to watch that and like 2 other films that were like deep, dark?
Schindler's List.
Schindler's List, that's right.
Okay.
Yay.
Jeez.
Alex, you should watch Schindler's List before you die, at least.
I've seen Schindler's List a good chunk. Like, I've not watched it all the way through. Like, growing up, you know, like when I was like 17, I think my dad just had it on one day, and I was like, oh, let me sit down and partake in this. So I wouldn't be opposed to watching the full one of that. Not that I'm saying that that's next week's Classic Corners.
All right, so that was Alex's Classic Corner. Coming up next week, guys, for Alex, Field of Dreams, baseball season has started. And for some odd reason, you said that you've never seen Field of Dreams.
Now, it's because...
How is that even possible?
Listen.
Yeah,
listen,
Ryan.
Listen.
I don't want to watch Field of Dreams.
Because he's not a sports fan.
I'm not.
So
It's
But he
not about
loves Kevin
sports,
Costner.
man.
he
Not about
loves Waterworld.
sports.
He
It's about
loves
family.
Waterworld. Yeah, right?
Shoeless Joe.
Shoeless Joe.
No, so the one I have seen is Bull Durham, and I hate that movie. I think that movie stunk. I just don't get it. Like, parts of it are funny, but I'm like, this is dumb.
But it's
like-
Susan Sarandon.
Yeah, I'm good.
That's how life really is in the minor leagues, Alex.
Yeah, bro.
Okay, great. That's awesome. I'll watch it on TV and not hear it. No, but Field of Dreams. You know, I've been a huge sports fan, and my dad has been coaching and he loves sports too. But see, he never really got into that. He said Field of Dreams was not one of his favorite movies. Like he's like, I don't really like that movie. So I never kind of pursued it because of that. I was like, I just kind of took his word for it. But I'm like, a lot of people say that's one of the best sports movies of all time, and I'm like, okay, probably.
Those people also say Bull Durham is one of the best sports movies of all time.
Oh well, they're absolutely wrong, and they need to forgive themselves for such a wrong opinion.
I prefer this over Bull Durham, but
If I had to pick a favorite sports, at least baseball movie, probably Moneyball. That's a great movie in general, but it's also, I mean, I know it doesn't really it's a Major League. That's a great film. Ryan, you should give that a watch.
I'm gonna say Little Big League.
That's a good one too.
Angels in the
There's the
Outfield.
Sandlot.
Oh,
not to make this an all. Yeah, Angels in the Outfield, great movie. Grew up with that.
Except they
Sandlot.
cheat. What horrible angels they are.
That's why I picked the Sandlot.
Oh, it's
kill
no
me,
Bull
Smalls.
Durham.
Telling you, people sleep on Little Big League. That's my jam.
I'm gonna say Hook.
There is a little bit of baseball in that, yes.
Actually, it's probably still Moneyball. I think I like Moneyball better than Hook.
Yeah, Moneyball's great. And then there's the Sandlot. I don't know if I just said that.
Yeah.
And the Sandlot too.
No, we're not. We're gonna pretend that doesn't exist.
There is no sequels to the Sandlot.
Sandlot
No
3.
No
No,
matter
what's the
what
one?
Matt says.
What's the one? Now, I may be getting the one you said, Matt, and another one misconstrued. There's one where these kids, they like manage the twins.
That's Little Big League.
Big League.
Okay, what is the one with where it's a kid who plays for the Cubs?
Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year. That's the one I thought you said, and I like that one. That one's okay. I always get those titles mixed up.
There's another kids baseball movie that came out around that time.
I feel like that's all of them.
The Mighty Ducks hit the field.
No.
The Mighty Ducks go to Japan.
I'm gonna look this up. But yeah,
That's what it was. Bad News
There
Bears.
we go.
Oh, you're right. Bad News Bears. Wait, which one? The
Ball.
Not
not Rob Thornton or Billy Bob Thornton. I'm sorry.
not Billy Bob.
Yeah,
Walter Matthau, right?
that's it. I couldn't think of his name. Thank you.
That
And
was like in
Freddy
the
Krueger.
70s. That's right. In the 70s.
That's right.
Okay. So for the rest of us, we are going to be watching Raya and the Last Dragon. Yay.
Yay.
Something happier. And I'm
You say
hoping
that
this-
now, and it's going to be the saddest Disney film of all time.
Well, I was
Impossible.
hating watching this dragon and its heroin addiction.
He's chasing the dragon, all right.
Oh, man, I remember that episode. You never catch the dragon, man.
I will turn this off. I want something happy. These last 2 months have been rough. If this is at least entertaining, I'm going to give this the best score ever.
That's right. We need some good old wholesome Disney fun.
Because it made me smile for like 5 minutes.
I get to go see it in Dolby,
Dolby.
and then I also have to go see Chaos Walking in Dolby.
Oh, please give us a
Boo.
review for that, because I'm like,
Wow.
I keep saying that I think that looks dumb, but at the same time, I'm like, I'll watch this maybe.
This is the
It
movie that's been
looks-
canceled twice.
Yeah.
Just want to remind you, twice.
Yeah. Didn't it have a pre-COVID release date?
In 2017.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I wonder if what's it? Dave Bautista's in it, because it's been
I
delayed
think so.
so much.
I know Mads is in it.
Oh yeah, he is in it.
He's always good.
Mm-hmm. All right. So according to Wikipedia, it was announced in 2016. Principal photography fully started and finished around 2017. Originally set to release in 2019. Removed from schedule to accommodate the film's reshoots. And it was
Snyder Cut.
Snyder Cut. It's released on the 24th of February in South Korea and in the United States on March 5th.
Wait, this thing has
And
ratings?
And shockingly enough, it is based on a book.
Why are there 5 people's names on the screenplay?
Probably because they had to change it 6 or 7 times.
Actually, I take that back. There's 7. There's 7 people on the screenplay. One of which is
Really?
Charlie Kaufman. Yeah.
Are you serious?
Ah,
That's rough.
I'm gonna hate this movie now, just for principle.
Yes, you're our guinea pig, Ryan. We need this.
Thank you, Ryan.
I'm just gonna go see
Appreciate that.
Boogie instead. Movie about an Asian American who wants to play basketball. I'm not doing that.
Is that the Justin Lin story?
I think so. I might go see it anyway. I don't know who that is.
Linsanity.
He's an Asian basketball player.
I figured.
He was popular for what, 5 minutes?
Hey, they give him a good year and a half, maybe 2 years.
Yeah, yeah, I'd say that.
Okay. I
So
was wrong. He's a good player. Though looking ahead, I have noticed that Cherry is on our list for the 12th. If you guys can find something happier, because that's probably a Debbie Downer as well. That would be amazing. And then our 4-hour Trek epic odyssey of the Snyder Cut, it comes on the 18th. So
is that the next HBO movie?
yes,
Okay. When is Godzilla come out?
the
31st.
31st. Mm-hmm. So just to give you a preview of March, since we are heading in, well, we are in March. So Raya the Last Dragon will be this week. Cherry is on Apple Plus, which will be the 12th. Justice League, and if we can fit it in, the start of the Falcon and Winter Soldier will be that Friday. The 26th will be the first 3 episodes of Invincible, which is the animated Robert Kirkman show on Amazon, because there's no movie that is actually coming out, at least in theaters here. That will be the 26th, and Godzilla vs. Kong is the 31st.
I am not watching Boogie because I also am going to watch Coming to America. So I'll have 3 next week.
Oh,
I waited for so long for that movie to come out. I was missing something during Christmas, and that's what it was, Coming to America.
Sorry. All right. So yeah, the 12th, that's wide open because I've heard that's a Debbie Downer as well. I'm sure that Tom Holland is fine in it, but I would like a happy streak instead of these bummers. So, oh, and if you guys have any suggestions out there out in the world, give us a shout. We'll take a consideration. Do we have any other thoughts? No more thoughts? All right. Like I said at the top of the show, we're on Apple, Google, Spotify, and Amazon. So leave us a message and leave us a comment or something. Like us. But until then, this meeting is adjourned. See y'all next week.